in order to be prepared for the vision to burst and manifest, aka the flood, you gotta make sure that you're being prepared and working in between time. So will we float or will we sink and drown when the flood comes? Be prepared for the flood, man. The KYREN Monteiro Show, season number 4, episode 8. Let go.
Yeah, stand on business, say it with you.
Me no disrespect. Hope y'all doing good out there, man. Hey, hey, this is the movement. They think we salute to the visionaries out here today, man.
Ain't no business, say it with your chest. Me no disrespect, just direct. We impacting culture, that means we a threat.
Yes, sir.
Movement fight squad going crazy.
They think we possess a auto freezer. We gon' make incisions.
Me we cutting chest.
Ain't stand on business.
Say it with your chest. Me no disrespect, just direct. We impacting culture, that means we a threat. We the movement fight squad going crazy. They think we possess auto freezer. We gon' make incisions. Me we cutting chest.
Hey.
The beat on my body, that
Industry
full of these copycats.
call me the goal.
Roger that.
Engage your label, no stopping that zone in the list.
Fight squad, we standing on business.
Most of you rappers just giving, we bringing it back. Taking our time for ascension. What's going on, everybody? My name is KYREN Monteiro, man. I want to personally welcome y'all to my podcast, the KYREN Monteiro Show, season 4, episode number 8, man. Round of applause, man. I appreciate y'all. Much gratitude, man, because without listeners and viewers, you have no podcast. You have no platform. So for everybody that writes with the podcast, I appreciate y'all. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you share this on all your social media platforms and to your network and circle of people, and let them know to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, which is now YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all of the major platforms, man. You can check out KYRENMonteiro.com. Check out the latest music, merchandise, all of that. Engage Records is the label. Fight Squad, the movement, frequency, canvas, the sound, man. All right, man. So guess what? This is episode number 8 of season 4. Called this episode, Be Prepared for the Flood, right? And last episode, I talked about everything working for your good and in Romans. So go check out episode 7 of season 4, man. Very transparent. One of my favorite episodes I've ever done on this podcast platform. But today I want to use another biblical reference. And I want to talk about being prepared for the flood, man. So in Genesis chapter 6, I'm not going to necessarily read particular scriptures. And I'm going to kind of paraphrase. So for all my Bible historians and theologians, don't knock my head off. Not going word for word today. But when you look at the story of Noah's Ark, God instructed Noah to build an ark, right? And he gave him several instructions. You know, Noah warned the people that God was going to flood the earth. And he told Noah to build a ark. Actually, if you're here in the United States of America, you can go, I believe, Louisville, Kentucky, or somewhere that is similar to Louisville. In the Louisville, Kentucky area, somewhere in the state of Kentucky, they actually have an ark built that are like the exact specs that the Bible talks about. And me and my family have been, and it's huge. Y'all should go check it out. Anyways, God instructed Noah to build an ark, told Noah that the earth was going to flood, told Noah to go out into wildlife, gather, 2 of every kind of animal, male and female, so that you're able to reproduce. He gave him specific instructions. Noah warned people that the earth was going to flood, and people thought that Noah was crazy, right? They thought that something was wrong with him, right? And when God flooded the earth, then people was in trouble, right? Because they drowned, right? They didn't survive because they wasn't prepared for the flood when God told them that a flood was coming. And imagine if Noah had not done what he was supposed to do. For those that believe in the Bible, you have the earth no more, right? And we know that God sent the rainbow. He promised to never flood the earth. That was a symbol of God's promise. Go check the story out. So even for those who are not in the Christian faith, it's a super famous story. It's a really famous story. But I want to take the flood and bring that into our personal lives. You can be an entrepreneur, a visionary. You can have personal goals, whatever it may be. But I just want to challenge us today to be prepared for the flood. And I'm speaking to myself first, and you can take and apply this however you want, right? So when I think about not being prepared for the flood, like what happens when God shows you a vision, you're trying to build it up from the ground up, you know that the flood is coming, but, people may not believe in it. They may not take you serious, right? But then when the flood happens, they wish that they would have took you serious. When the flood happens, they wish they would be in your ark. They wish that they would be on the other side of that situation. And so I just want to encourage people today, man, like be prepared for the flood. So point number 1, God entrusted the vision to you for a reason. I've said this on other episodes before, but I think it's important to repeat this one more time. God entrusted the vision to you for a reason, right? So I heard, great people say that vision is seeing what others cannot see. Vision is seeing something that other people cannot see. There's a reason that specific vision was given to you. There's a reason why it was entrusted to you. And it's very easy when you have a vision and other people can't see it that you give up, you get frustrated, you get irritated, you want to throw in the towel. You got to keep going, right? That the vision is there. You know that it is happening and you're manifesting because you're working it, because you're praying over it and you're doing these different things. But you can't give up, or when the flood comes, you're not going to be prepared for it, right? So that's point number 1. He gave the vision to you for a reason. He entrusted you for a reason. You got to keep pushing no matter what. Which comes into point number 2. You have to stay locked in on the vision no matter who believes in it or not. Let me say that one more time. You have to stay locked in on the vision no matter who believes in it or not. There's so many people who have goals in life, so many people that want to do so many great things in life, but never make it to the finish line because they've let the doubt and disbelief of other people kill their vision. Sometimes you just got to shut your mouth and don't even tell people the vision. Sometimes God will give you stuff, and sometimes you just got to keep it to you and a close circle of people and not let other people around, because they'll try to kill it before it even is born. You have to. It's kind of like a newborn baby, right? When you have a newborn baby, you don't just take it around everybody. You have to allow his or her immune system to be built up, and in time, you eventually bring them around people. You let so-and-so meet them. You let this family member over here, you might bring them to a Thanksgiving or Christmas eventually, but you don't just the first day out of the hospital take a newborn baby around everybody. Why? Because they might be sick, they might be infected. And you don't want the health and the life of your newborn child being affected. Your vision is very much so like that at the end of the day. You have to treat it like a newborn baby and be protective of who you let around it, who you let breathe into it. Ooh, round of applause. That's good. That's real good. That's real good. Point number 3, you have to maximize your time along the journey so you are prepared for the flood. Let me say that one more time. You have to maximize your time along the journey so that you are prepared for the flood. I'm going to put the anchor down right there real quick. So when you have a vision, and you make your plan of execution and your strategies, and you're trying to figure out systems and processes and different things to make sure that this thing can really be birthed and be executed. You know what the end goal is. You know what, quote unquote, making it feels like for that vision. But between the foundations and the start point of that vision and to you getting to where you're going, you have to constantly be working, constantly be prepared to make sure that you are ready for when the flood comes, right? Let's go back to Noah. If God told Noah that he was going to flood the earth, He told them to build the ark. He gave them specific instructions, warned the people, blah, blah, blah. And so, Genesis chapter 6, go read it and everything else attached to it. If Noah did not build the ark and did not move how God told him to move, it's over with. The story ends a totally different way. The story was already catastrophic for many, many, many people. But imagine if Noah doesn't move on what he was supposed to move on. You have to move and be prepared for the flood to come. The flood is the ultimate place. That's what the flood is, the mountaintop. The flood represents the blessing coming, your vision being reached, being birthed, being manifested, prospering and thriving. That's what the flood represents. So if you're not necessarily prepared for that, how are you going to be able to float? You'll drown when the flood comes. When the water comes crashing in, you'll drown. You got to make sure that you're prepared. And what I mean by that is making sure that making sure that you're studied up, learn, be around people who know more than you, making sure that you're constantly trying to grow, making sure that you're trying to be the best that you can be at whatever it is that you do. All of these things, you got to be ready for when the flood comes, man. Point number 4, lack of preparation will ultimately drown you when the flood comes. Let me say that one more time because it goes with everything I just said. Point number 4, lack of preparation will ultimately drown you when the flood comes. If you are not prepared, you will drown. You have to be ready. You can't just be given a vision. You can't just be given an idea, whatever it may be, and then sit back and then think that the blessing is just gonna come. If you do sit back and it just came and the opportunity came, you're not gonna be prepared for it. You're gonna drown. You're not ready for the opportunity. So you gotta definitely keep that in mind. Point number 5, and then we out of here. Make sure that the ark is built strong enough to withhold the floods and the storms. That's good. One more time. Make sure that the ark is built strong enough to withhold the floods and the storms. So you got to make sure that your foundation is solid enough. When you're in between the dash of the preparation and all of that stuff, or when the storm comes, you got to make sure that the ark that you're building is strong enough to withhold the storms and the wind. The ark represents your vision and your goals and all of that. If the foundation and if you are not prepared and it's not strong enough, when opportunity comes, it will collapse because what you built wasn't strong enough. If Noah's ark wasn't strong enough, it doesn't withhold the storms. It sinks and it drowns like everybody else in the story that wasn't on the ark. But because it was strong enough, he was able to withhold the storms, man. So a round of applause for y'all. Make sure you check out the podcast on Apple, Google, which is now YouTube, Spotify, all the major platforms, KYRENMONTEIRO.com, man. I just want to encourage y'all, be prepared for when the flood comes. I didn't want to be in front of y'all too long, but I definitely wanted to encourage y'all to be prepared for when the flood comes, man, because it's so important to be prepared. Let's end out on a good note. Make sure you stand on business. Hey, stand on business. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go. Yeah, say stand on business. Mean no disrespect. We impacting culture, that means we a threat. Hey, this the movement. Why going crazy, they think we possess. I told Freezer we gon' make incisions, mean we cutting checks, man. The KYREN Monteiro Show, season 4, episode number 8. Be prepared for the flood. Check out one of my latest singles, Stand on Business, available on all platforms right now, man. Engage Records is the label, Fight Squad is the movement, man. Blessings to y'all.